Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Never a dull moment these days. Another full news day. So much to talk about. Trump's ear. We have a close-up. Everybody wants to see Trump's ear. So many theories, conspiracies, maybe truth floating around out there. Everybody has an opinion, but there's no denying what you're about to see. Is Joe Biden alive? Well, we have video to suggest that he is. It looks like Joe Biden shuffles. I won't say walks, but he shuffles like Joe Biden. Sort of talks like Joe Biden. Might be Joe Biden. I'll let you decide when you see the video tonight. Oh, this is so much fun, isn't it? Reality, so dull. Why not immerse ourselves in whatever this is, this alternative reality? Just pick your alternative reality. Therein lies the fun. What else do we have? Kamala Harris on the campaign trail. We have, what else am I highlighting here tonight? Oh, yes, we have local police officer testifying in front of the House Committee on the attempted assassination of Trump. A lot of revelations there. He talks about that suspicious character that they were monitoring before the shooting turned out to be Mr. Crooks. We'll share what he had to say with you. Wildfires out in Western Canada again. An old video of J.D. Vance resurfacing online. The left is using that to attack Vance because of what he has to say about cat ladies and Kamala Harris. What else do we have? We have, Anna Navarro. She's been triggered. Yeah, we have a few funny things to share with you, too. And, of course, the director of the Secret Service has resigned. And we have reaction to that tonight. So it's a stacked broadcast. Lots to talk about. Don't go away. We will return right after this.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
tons and tons of conspiracy theories after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. And now today, video coming out of Trump playing golf, and you get to see his ear. So I have the video here, and I also have close-ups of his ear. Everybody wants to know, was he really shot? And if he was really shot, how serious was it? Well, you can be the judge. A lot of people say, oh, this is 100% fake, because if he was shot in the ear, he'd be dead or concussed or whatever. Okay, so here's the video from today. There's his ear.
Can you see that? I think it's over the net.
I'll get it over.
That's over the. That's over the net.
Yeah.
We don't see that, dude.
Over the net.
One more time.
Can you see that? I think it's over the net.
I'll get it over.
That's over the. That's over the net.
Yeah.
We don't see that, dude.
Over the net.
Right there. There's the ear. Nobody's paying attention to what he's saying. Some sort of weird delay there, too, on the audio. Did you notice that? When the guy takes the swing, the sound of the club hitting the ball is not synchronized. So I don't know what's going on there. But there's a shot of his ear on video. Some people said that half his ear had been shot off. In fact, on this post, it says, they're accusing Trump of being a liar. They said that they say his son is a liar because his son said his ear was half shot off. I don't know. Let's take a close-up of that. Okay, so here's an image cropped in. I took that video and I cropped this in for you so you can see his ear. It looks like there is some sort of abrasion on the top of his ear. You can see it looks like it's still red, maybe a little bit of blood there even today. And I have to say that I'm making the assumption that yes, this was shot today. I believe that it was. And here's a cropped in shot even closer. So it looks like there is some sort of injury to the ear. You can see that it is discolored. There appears to be maybe scabbing. A little bit of a lump on the top, maybe. No, the ear was not shot off, if this is accurate, and it appears to be. Well, how serious is it? I don't know. Hang on just a second. Hang on here. Okay, hang on. I've got an important call coming in, so let me take a break. I'll be right back, folks. Don't go away.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, so there's Donald Trump in his ear. What do you guys think of that? I'm just going to go to the chat, take a look. Yeah, Rod Dragon says, almost see a hole in the lobe in the ear. Deborah says, I must be blind. Looks good to me. It doesn't look like it was that serious. To me, it looks like it just skimmed the top of his ear. Just barely grazed his ear. Enough to make it bleed like crazy. But doesn't look like it was a severe injury. I've seen people commenting online and even taking that images from that, posting it, saying there was one post that suggested if he had been hit in the ear, he would have had a concussion and his neck would have been broken. And I don't believe that that necessarily has to be the case. So, is that authentic? I think that's, I don't know, could be. Looks sort of authentic. Good. Don't believe your lying eyes anymore, right? You can present people with photographs. You can show people absolute proof of something these days, and everybody is so screwed up now that even when something appears to be absolutely factual and it's right in front of you, everyone's going, I don't know if that's real or not. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad out there. You just don't know what's real anymore. Isn't that the truth? That's the truth. The truth is nobody knows what the truth is. Even when we're presented with the truth, we still sit there and say, I don't know if that's true or not. And there's just so much more. There are other things circulating tonight saying that the Heritage Foundation somehow managed to get cell phone data that has allowed them to track Thomas Crook's activity and locations just prior to the assassination attempt. Here, check this out. I don't know if this is true. I'm very skeptical of this on many levels. It says FBI caught communicating with Trump shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks. Share this video quickly before they erase it from the internet. Well, I clicked on it. That didn't actually take me to it took me to a video, but not a video of police communicating with Crooks. I don't know. There's some real fake news out there, and it's not coming from the mainstream media. I'll tell you that. There's a lot of fake news going on around, and Glenn says Rick should be reporting on the building the shooter was on is owned by BlackRock, and the shooter was in a BlackRock advertisement, but Rick doesn't like reporting on the Jewish connection. Hey, Glenn, I already ran the video, okay, about BlackRock, and think what you want, all right? I report facts, and just bring more. Hit me with more. Go ahead. You want to tangle? Let's tangle. The chat is yours. Go ahead. Yeah, he was in a BlackRock commercial. What does that mean? Don't know. All we know is he was in a BlackRock commercial. Was he paid? I don't know. We'll find out more. Because Glenn, BlackRock probably pulled the ad because they had an advertisement out there with a guy who tried to kill the president in it. So it doesn't look good on the company. Any company would pull the ad. Duh. Of course they're going to pull the ad. Just like the Biden campaign brought all of their advertising, all of it, to a complete halt as soon as the assassination attempt was reported. Because that's what you do. It's called image management, perception management, PR. That's what you do. So, of course, if you're a big company and suddenly a would-be presidential assassin who ends up dead after taking shots at Donald Trump is in one of your ads, of course you're going to take the ad down. It's a conspiracy theory. Well, that's just what happened. Seems a little bit weird. What are you shooting me for? Guilty as suspected, yes? I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Who, me? I'm guilty, or Thomas Crooks is guilty? Don't know. I don't know. Anything else, Glenn? You want to take more shots at me? I'm just sitting here reporting the news. Are you pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, anti-Jew? Just hate everybody? You got to hate on for me tonight? You want some more? Who else do you hate? Whatever, man. If you got any more, just share in the chat. Go ahead. Okay, what else do we have for you tonight? You know who else was triggered by all of this, just like Glenn? Anna Navarro. This is funny. I don't watch The View, but man, I'll tell you, she's saying that the people on the right are triggered, but nobody's been triggered more than her by people who are triggered. It just gets more entertaining every day. People like Glenn and Anna Navarro just make the world go around. And people who think they're conservative right now seem to be coming all the way over and joining people on the radical left. I just saw a clip tonight of Donald Trump. You know, he's been actually pretty consistent on this, but he's being criticized by a guy I call Javek's head. Johnny, you know who it is because you sent me the clip, saying that, you know, Trump is threw the right, the people on the right under the bus is what Javek's head says. This another online guy. It doesn't matter. Anyway, no, Trump's been pretty consistent. If you really listen to what he actually says without the interpretation of the guy who soaks his head in bleach, Mr. LGBTQ plus S, secular guy. Johnny, I don't think you even know what you're watching, man, and what the guy's really selling you. Anyway, let's bring up Anna Navarro because I think she's a little confused these days too. Well, maybe not confused, just triggered. I just found this humorous. I love her glasses too. She's definitely emotional. Here we go. All right. Come on, Anna. Where'd you go? Here we go. Anna Navarro.
You all, I'm back on the road heading to Washington this time. But before I get on the plane, we got to have some real talk. Listen, if you have any Trumpers in your life, I need you to give them a call and make sure they are okay. Because the meltdown, the conspiracies, the insanity those people are going through since Kamala Harris became the nominee, I can't even begin to explain to you. I mean, some of the things they are saying, I almost can't believe it. Like, let me just tell you. So they are saying that Joe Biden is dead and being hidden from public view. People, that's like cuckoo crazy. Get men in white coats to come and bring you away and take you out in a padded wagon. That's like Robin Cook Hollywood stuff. Of course Joe Biden is alive. We've heard him. We've seen him come off a plane. He did not die in Las Vegas. If you think that, you need medication. Then they are saying that Kamala Harris is a DEI hire. You know, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that she's had everything handed to her because she's a woman, because she's black, because she's Southeast Asian, because she's whatever. If we're going to talk about DEI hires, why don't we talk about J.D. Vance? You know why J.D. Vance became Hollywood liberal and Hollywood darling and CNN contributor and all of those things? Because he supposedly was the translator for hillbillies, hillbilly elegy, right? So that was his entree, his diversity, equity, and inclusion. So let's include hillbillies and diversity, equity, and inclusion, or is it just for black people and Latinos? And you know who else got everything handed to him? Donald J. Trump, who had everything handed to him by his daddy, who bailed him out of the draft, who bailed him out of debt, who just helped him his entire life. That guy has had everything handed to him. Oh, and wait, there's a part about how Kamala Harris isn't black. Really? People, her father was black Jamaican, or is black Jamaican. Her mother was Southeast Asian from India, a brilliant cancer researcher who passed away from cancer. So do not tell me Kamala Harris is not black. That's the kind of thing they're trying to say so that black people think she's not black enough. I heard the same things about Barack Obama in 2008. How did that work out? Oh, then there's the part of, oh my God, Kamala Harris, she laughs.
She
Oh,
does.
well, if I were looking at
cackles.
Republicans, and if I were looking at Donald Trump, I'd be laughing too. Oh, and then there's the part where they're like putting out pictures of Kamala Harris as a young woman on dates and, you know, wearing cute clothes. Guess what? Okay, so our presidential candidate is hot, is beautiful. Is that a crime? At least I've never seen her titties and her coochies like I've seen Melania's. Oh, and then they put out pictures of Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug Emhoff. They want to show black people that Doug Emhoff is a white Jewish man, as if that's going to make her less black for some reason. Guess what, folks? Interracial marriage has been legal since loving. That's why J.D. Vance can be married to his wife, who is also Southeast Asian. That is why Melania Trump can be married to an orange man, and it is legal. Okay, so you can take your racism and your dog whistles and your bullshit and save it, because Kamala Harris laughs easily, has a sense of humor. Kamala Harris is Southeast Asian. She is black. She is American. She is proud of her heritage. She is comfortable in her skin, and she is a happy, happy woman, and she's gonna be your next president. So learn how to say it. Kamala, president.
Somebody's just a little bit upset. Kamala. Can you say it? Kamala. That's pretty. You know what? I would say even if you don't believe in those conspiracies or conspiracy theories, you should talk about them anyway. Just to help Anna out. It gives her material for her social media posts on Twitter and TikTok, I guess. I thought that was funny. Okay, don't go away. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
It's too much fun. This is entertaining. This is reality television. If you really think about it, it really is. Remember, I just mentioned the reports that the Heritage Foundation has obtained cell phone data, allowing them to track the last movements of Thomas Crooks before the shooting. Well, I'll show you. In fact, you know what? Let's check this out. I don't know. I'm very skeptical of this story. I'll show it to you, but I'm not telling you this is the truth. I think that I don't know. But what is the Alternet? Alternet.org. Let's find out what these guys are all about, shall we? What is this website? Alternet? I'm sure that's a credible news source. The Alternet. 2024 copyright Alternet Media Inc. And then they've left something on here. Pointer fonts provided by fontsempire.com. So they went and downloaded a font for their graphics when they produced this website. All right, you can contribute to this site, I guess. Here's where you reach them. Who is the Alternet? Sounds very alternative, doesn't it? You get a daily news of the right wing. There might be some legitimacy to this. I don't know. Where do they have an about page? Who are you guys? Go to the home page. Lots of news. You can subscribe for $40 a month or something like that. Go ad free. Make a one-time donation. I want to know who these guys are. Shut up, shill. Mike Pence's call for calm spurs MAGA meltdown. It looks like they've got some subscribers. They're the right wing? How right-wing conservatives laid waste to America for 50 years. Okay, so I don't think this is a right-wing conservative publication. A lot of progressives out there. The Alternate. There it is, About Alternate. Who owns this? It's an award-winning news magazine, an online community that creates original journalism and amplifies the best of hundreds of other independent media sources. Alternate's aim is to inspire action and advocacy. Is it? Really? Strategic journalism? That's a new one. Alternate has developed a unique model of journalism to confront the failures of corporate media, as well as the vitriol and disinformation of right-wing media, especially hate talk media. So these guys are on the left. Not only do we keep our readers highly informed in a wide range of topics from hundreds of experts and sources, but we also provide laser focus on the most compelling issues of the day. Okay, what I found too is that I think they were criticizing the Heritage Foundation for violating privacy by using that data. Other posts I've seen have been praising the Heritage Foundation for using the data to track Thomas Crook's last steps before the shooting. So they say this was created in 1998, this website. This organization? I don't know. I will find out. Let's get a little info, shall we, on this website. Let me see if I can find out who they are. I'm going to do a little searching here together with you. So the website was registered in 1994, December 7th. Expires December. Their domain expires this December. We know that these guys use GoDaddy. So they're probably running off a server over on GoDaddy. And most of the information on the company has been redacted. So there's not a lot of information initially available to me here on this first search wave that I've done. And okay, so they're hosting over at Cloudflare, and so they have been used. Somebody's been using, whoever owns this domain, they have had it. They've acquired that back in 1994. And what did they say? They said that they've been around since, what was it, 1998? So, yeah. So it looks like they are legitimate in the sense that they have actually been around for a while. Beyond that, I'm going to have to dig deeper if we really want to dig into this, but I can see now that it's a progressive left-wing media outlet of some kind, and they're relying on contributors to publish content with them, and they're using a variety of, we used to call them stringers, people who are not on staff, but just people who contribute, could be anybody posting stuff, but they would, of course, vet the information in the articles beforehand, before publishing it, I expect. They have writer's guidelines. So that's interesting. Of course, everybody's trying to find a way to kind of take the wind out of the Heritage Foundation's sails, especially with Project 2025 and the plan that has been laid out, the right wing plan that has been laid out in Project 2025. I think we will dig into that in a future episode, because there is a lot of interest in that. Trump saying he doesn't know anything really about it, but when he says that, and that was in the video that Johnny sent to me, you can't, you have to, comprehension skills are important, especially when you listen to Donald Trump. When he says he doesn't know anything about it, I think what he means is that he didn't have anything, he wasn't directly involved in writing about it. He says he doesn't know anything about it. You can take that literally, but obviously he knows about it because he's talking about it. But when he says he doesn't know anything about it, I think what he means is he didn't have a hand in creating it or crafting it. It's just people within a conservative group, and you could say, a more far-right group of conservatives who put the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 plan together. We'll get into it more another night, and I'll look at it closer. But I don't think Trump's lying about not knowing about it. I don't think those words are not meant to be taken literally. Just what I said, I don't think he had a hand in writing it. And so he's saying, like, don't blame me. I didn't write the thing. But of course, people who don't like Trump are going to attack him in that way. And the attacks on J.D. Vance continue. Tonight, a clip has resurfaced of Vance criticizing Kamala Harris for being childless. This goes back to an interview that Vance did with Tucker Carlson back in, I think this is 2021. And he has been kind of a flip-flopper, all over the mapper. Never know what you're going to get from him, kind of a politician. And I think it's because he's young, he's smart but inexperienced. I don't think he's as worldly as some of the more seasoned politicians. And so his positions on things continue to evolve, shift, change. That's why he's gone from calling Trump the next Hitler to being his vice presidential running mate. So I don't know where he stands on this today, but this is what he said back in 2021.
Saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
So he's saying they don't have any skin in the game because they don't have any children. So there's no stake in the future. Yeah, that's a pro-family position, right? Someone would say that's pretty extreme right-wing stuff. And yet when you listen to J.D. Vance speak, he sounds very progressive to me, especially on issues of economics. He's pro-worker. He sounds very much like a socialist. But therein lies a reflection of the populist movement, where it brings people from all sides of the political spectrum together. You get this mishmash that's almost a dysfunctional family, and it's only fitting in many ways that you have a vice presidential candidate who is a mixed bag and unpredictable, very much like the populist movement that has become MAGA, which has taken over the Republican Party. It's dysfunctional, just like the United States itself these days. Very, very divided. I was thinking about that overnight, laying in bed when I do a lot of my best thinking, when everything is just totally quiet. If I turn off the videos that I usually have playing in the background. But when I'm laying there and I don't have stuff on, I do think, try to think very clearly. And, I think we do. People are talking about the New World Order over on InfoWars today. I'm seeing Alex Jones is warning everyone that we are in the middle of a deep state coup. I think that might actually be true on at least some level. And again, comprehension is needed here. But I've been saying everybody here is focused inward, blaming everything on our own government, on blaming everything on the United States, or blaming everything on Canada. And as a result of that, you have everybody fighting. We are divided, more divided now than ever, which is making it, honestly, easier, in my estimation, for the true New World Order, for the true adversaries, the true people behind the coup, to do their insidious things. They've divided us, and now we're much easier to conquer. Are you not? You don't see it, do you, folks? Maybe a few of you do. Maybe the ones with, really enhanced comprehension skills. It's not our government. It's foreign governments creating chaos, confusion. And they are corrupting some people within our government so that they can affect their plan. It's just, it's hard to understand, to comprehend this. But I think that's really what's going on. We have people who have infiltrated our government through politicians and bureaucrats and academia and even the corporations, not just the government, but our society. And they've also created so much confusion and chaos that people are divided into camps, and we're fighting with each other. Well, it's really the foreign actors who are manipulating everything and trying to control the government and effect a coup without firing a shot. Are you getting it? That's why we had that, the hearing in Canada, and we saw CSIS and the RCMP and many testifying about the politicians who've been compromised because of foreign influence and foreign infiltration, and they're not naming the names, and we should be maybe naming the names, but they're not doing it. I think I figured out why they're not naming the names. I'm going to save that for another night. I think I know why they're not naming the names. But that's where the real threat to our system of government, to our government itself, to our society rests. It's foreign infiltration, foreign information warfare, sowing seeds of chaos, and they're sprouting. And now we are divided and much easier to conquer. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, and I see Johnny active in the chats. He says, we are all being duped. That's a typo. He says, the New World Order plan, this is over on Rumble, is World War III to collapse world banking system, to bring in digital currency, and we all lose. And he says, otherwise, Rick, don't believe everything you hear, follow the money. Yeah, but Johnny, you're not getting it because you're not looking in the right place. You're all twisted around and you're listening to old tropes. We won't get into that because that's just, you're totally misdirected, my friend. The truth is right in front of you. And we talk about it here all the time. And you probably will agree with me to some, on some level. They do want to collapse the economy. They do want to collapse the dollar, but who are they? It's the Chinese, the Russians, Iran, Brazil, South Africa, BRICS, the BRICS nations. It's an affront to our economic system. That's what it is. And these other countries are aligning themselves to compete directly with Western power, the Western economic system, capitalism. Even though their system is based on capitalism too, they're putting it forward, I think, as a kinder, gentler kind of socialistic sort of capitalism. But it's still capitalism. It's just their own system. And they're coming for us. It's economic warfare. But they're very good at the information warfare game too. And so they have a lot of people really confused and twisted around so that we keep looking at ourselves and blaming our own system for a lot of the things that are happening here. And what is really going on is we've had some pretty poor managers, economic managers, bad politicians and bureaucrats who have, dug us deep into debt. You can also, I've thought about this so much. If you really want to know who you need to blame for our economic problems, look in the mirror. Everybody. We are all to blame. All of us. Because we want free stuff. And when we go to the polls and we vote, so many people just say, well, I'm going to vote for the politician who's going to give me the most. And the public tends to demand of politicians that they just cough up free stuff. Well, there's nothing that's free. So the politicians give the public what they want. Trudeau, what's he done? Every time he goes to the polls, just like a good liberal does, he just brings the checkbook and starts writing checks with our money to give it back to us, except we can't afford it. So he writes a check that is, paid for with a loan, debit. He puts it on a credit card for the future. That's what he's doing. And people demand it. Where's my free health care? Where's my social assistance? Where's my this? Where's my dental plan? Where's my free dental plan? And we all demand it to one degree or another, right? I demand services. I want my roads paved and my garbage picked up, and I'd like that done for, a reasonable price, which would be a reasonable level of taxation. But a lot of other people, they want to be taken care of from the cradle to the grave. They want to live on social assistance. For them, that is their job, a lot of people. And the government creates a lot of that too, but we need to look in the mirror. And when the government can't pay for it, you know what they do is they export the debt. People don't understand how the system works, but that's what they're doing. They don't need to be productive here when they use and abuse and twist and distort capitalism into something that really allows them to rack up debt and then never actually pay for it. But who ends up not paying for it? People in, well, the plan was, I think, with some of these evil politicians, was to export the debt to third world countries where people were working for, $1 a day or 50 cents a day. That's the way it was. Using child labor so you can get your cheap plastic crap from third world countries, including at the time, China, when they were economically depressed. And then the big companies here were like, well, we'll just export everything. We'll export the production, and then we'll import the products. And then people here don't have to work. They get stuff cheap. They live on welfare. It's free money. You see what I'm saying? And then the government here is like, okay, well, here it's the Canadian or the US dollar, and then we pay for it with these dollars that we send overseas to these people who have produced it. And no wonder they're upset with us, because when the time comes to pay the debt, which we owe them, we say, well, we didn't really produce anything here, so we'll just print more money, and we'll just give them more of our money. It's kind of a complicated thing, but when they do that, what they're really doing then is it creates inflation. So they don't actually, the government doesn't actually end up paying. And the people in these other countries are getting a little bit tired of it, because they're saying, hey, wait a minute, we produced it and we sold it for $1, but now because of inflation, the money we're getting back is only worth 50 cents. And it affects us too in a roundabout way, because, well, not a direct way, especially those of us who work, because when you work, and then your savings get eaten up, especially retirees, people on fixed incomes. You're exporting the debt, or what they're doing is they're downloading the burden of the debt onto those people who worked hard all their lives, did the right things, saved, scrimped, did all they barely could to get by, right? Or they put the money away for retirement, and then Justin Trudeau comes along and says, hey, you know what? We're just going to print more money. And that becomes an indirect tax, a hidden tax on people who have saved. That's the way it works. That's the abuse and the perversion of capitalism. But that's not the kind of capitalism that I advocate for here. I advocate for responsible capitalism, efficiency, free markets, allowing for competition to drive prices down, and advocating for more production using free markets. And actually, in a way, that's what Trump is advocating for too. And so in that way, he has been actually quite consistent. And that's why he is saying we need tariffs, which I used to be opposed to, but given the current state of, on a macroeconomic level, when you look at the geopolitical landscape and the systems that are in place, and what foreign countries are doing, and especially because of these BRICS nations now coming online to compete directly with an alternative economic system and an alternative currency, yeah, we're going to need the tariffs in order to protect our local markets. But in order for that to work, you need to bring the production back, bring the factories back, bring the production home, close things off a bit, and make sure that you're enforcing that so that you don't just leave the workers completely exposed to foreign competition, which is not fair, because those foreign governments are then subsidizing their people, their workers, their industries with fake economic policies, inflation, money printing, the same basic techniques, but subsidization. Whatever. That's where the competition is coming from. That is the New World Order. It's if you really want to drill down and look at it in simplistic terms, you want to know what it is? It's this capitalist, it's the capitalist Western system being challenged by the emergence of this hybrid socialistic economic system that is really just, it's capitalism too. It's inevitable. They can't get away from a capitalist system because that's what works. But they're trying to inject a layer of virtue, I guess, to their system, make it a kinder, gentler kind of capitalism through the BRICS nations. Essentially, they're trying to free themselves from the shackles of the world reserve currency, which is the U.S. dollar. And if they're successful, Johnny, you and I, we're going to see our standard of living decline significantly. And it's not just because of the economic front, but it's the military issues, the wars in Ukraine and in Gaza, especially in Gaza, and Ukraine too. Those countries, they're pivotal right now. What happens there will have a direct impact on the economy here. Not because of the money that's being spent on the military industrial complex, but if those countries were to fall, you will see major repercussions geopolitically and as a result as well, economically, because our economy is absolutely tied to oil and defense, the defense of Western countries. And I'm not just talking about the production and the value of the weapons produced. I'm talking about stability, confidence. The value of the dollar is always propped up by public confidence. Do you believe in it? Do you believe in its stability? Do you believe that if you have that dollar today, that it's going to be worth $1 tomorrow? If you undermine that confidence, you undermine the economy. That's why the economy is under so much attack. That's why the stability of all Western countries is so important, because it's not, we are living in a world economy now. It really, really started to take off back in the 80s, the globalization of the economy. So we're no longer just, you can bring the production back, but inevitably, because of the globalization of the economy, we're tied to all of these things that happen all over the world, whether we like it or not. And we can sit here and pretend, and we can be told even that, and that's, a lot of people are buying into this idea that we're not going to be affected. All we have to do is just stop these forever wars, blah, 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 blah. Well, that sounds great. And I understand, and I want the wars to stop too. And I believe there is a path to peace and prosperity. But how we get there is important. And how we achieve that stability is important. We don't want to just, it's not enough to just surrender on any of these battlefronts. We can't just surrender or the entire system will collapse. This has to be handled in a way that allows us to transition into the new geopolitical and geoeconomic realities that face us. If we don't, we'll find out that we'll see an economic collapse that will make the dirty 30s and the Depression look like prosperity. Believe me, this has to be handled properly, or we're in a lot of trouble. All right, again, I'm just take a quick break, come back. There's lots more to dig into tonight.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so don't ever give up fighting. Don't give up fighting for freedom, folks. We need it. As Reagan said, this is the last place on earth where we have it. And in many respects, I think he was right then. And I think it's kind of true now, too. What we had is worth restoring, I would say. We need to get back to it. There's still remnants of it. There's scraps and little pieces of it. I see it out there. I feel it. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner, rather, testifying today into that House Homeland Security hearing about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, said some pretty amazing things, revealed some pretty important information. This coming from Christopher Paris, Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner. And this coming just a day later after now, we saw Kimberly Cheadle, the Secret Service Director, testify. Today, she now came out and resigned from her position. She really didn't reveal very much during her testimony yesterday. She really, played the information very close. And I can kind of understand why. The investigation is ongoing. Most people viewing what she had to say, though, is, I think interpreting that as being part of maybe a cover-up or a CYA, but, and I'm sure there's a lot of that going on right now, but I think there was some stuff that she just couldn't talk about. And she honestly did come off looking very, how shall I put this gently? Incompetent. Yeah. I realized that, or found out that she really came from PepsiCo, Pepsi Company. That was where her background was. I don't know what the heck she knows about policing. I don't know everything about her background, but it just struck me as odd when I heard that she was, I believe, the CEO. Let me just check that for you. Yeah, so she is Senior Director in Global Security at PepsiCo. So she was guarding the cola. Oh, I'm sure it's a more serious job than that, but yeah. And Pepsi owns all kinds of different companies, just like BlackRock. It's a conspiracy. They own Taco Bell. And you don't want to talk about predictive programming. Just go look at that. What was that? So it was the Sylvester Stallone movie with Sandra Bullock in it. What was the name of that? Was it Demolition Man? I think it was Demolition Man, where all restaurants are Taco Bell, which ultimately is owned by Pepsi, which just shows you it's a conspiracy. Cheadle was there just to usher in the takeover, the corporate coup by PepsiCo. Now, there's truth for you. But anyway, she resigned today. We got this police commissioner up testifying. And I'm just trying to find the clip here for you. He revealed more information. He definitely did. So we know that 2 local law enforcement officers left a building with vantage points overlooking the roof where crooks took aim at Trump before he fired shots. We know that the officer today testified as well about who was assigned to what and where, and it looks like the communications between the Secret Service and local law enforcement who initially spotted Crooks, the would-be assassin, happened, you know, a fair amount of time in advance of the shots being fired. The officer today also described a more detailed timeline from when officers first spotted crooks in the crowd to when the shots were then eventually fired. We're hearing today as well that crooks took at least 8 shots were fired by crooks. Peres told the committee that he believes the number is 8. 8 casings have been recovered, he said. So that's additional information to support the number of shots with solid evidence. That's solid evidence. You have the cartridges recovered, that in conjunction with other evidence, including audio recordings. Says he says that a municipal officer came face to face with crooks several minutes before the shooting. And Peres went on during the testimony to say that during this, that there was a brief confrontation that took place because we heard before about the 2 local officers who had learned of Crook's position on the roof, and then they tried to climb up onto the roof to confront the shooter, with the one officer just pulling himself up and then dropping down so that because Crooks pointed his gun right at the officer, and then that officer fell and actually injured himself. So there was additional testimony regarding that. So today's testimony, much more helpful, much more detailed, a lot more coming out of it than we got from Cheadle yesterday, the director of the Secret Service, who seemed like a deer caught in the headlights at times. But today she's gonzo. In fact, before I run this clip of the officer, let me show you what's happening with the Cheadle resignation. Computer's a little sluggish here. Here we go. Here's Representative Nancy Mace, who gave Cheadle a real hard time during her testimony and called for impeachment yesterday. And now today, saying the impeachment will no longer be necessary, and she explains why. Here we are.
Okay, we are on our way to the Speaker's office. Last night, I filed a privileged motion to force a vote on the floor of the House on impeaching Kim Cheadle. And we are withdrawing that motion since she resigned. And we're going to give this letter to the Speaker of the House to withdraw our impeachment motion. And we're doing that right now.
So that was going on today. And let's go to the House hearing now. And we'll hear a little bit from Mr. Peres. He was much more helpful and more forthcoming. But I think in his position, regional, local law enforcement in a better, freer place to speak than someone from the Secret Service.
Mr. Ivey. I now recognize Mr. Garbarino, the gentleman from New York, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Colonel Peres, there have been conflicting reports about the location of state and local law enforcement. Secret Service Director, I believe, said that, former Secret Service Director said that local police were in the same building that the gunman fired from, while other accounts indicate that local law enforcement was in an adjacent building. Were any Pennsylvania state troopers, state police assigned to the building where the shooting happened?
There were no state troopers, to my knowledge, assigned there, sir.
Do you know if any other local law enforcement were assigned inside that building?
I only know that Butler ESU were assigned. When you say that building, I'm referring to there's a series of buildings there that have covered walkways or second-story walkways that allow you to, almost like a pole barn type configuration, a modular type building. But to my knowledge, there were no troopers assigned to that location, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Yoes, as technology has evolved, drones have become widely available to both law enforcement and the general public. For a large event with this level of security, would you normally expect law enforcement to use drones for surveillance and deploy counter-drone technology?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Would you normally expect law enforcement to use drones for surveillance and deploy counter-drone technology?
Well, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, I just, in my experience at this location is there are a number of elevated locations that should have been secured. There are a lot of ways to secure that. They could be with individuals assigned to it, but certainly an overwatch to be able to get a good visual of those locations is paramount.
So it's been reported that the Secret Service apparently did not use drones for surveillance, but the shooter was able to fly his own drone over the area earlier on the day of the rally and get aerial footage of the site. Do you know if that's true?
I have no direct knowledge.
Were you, okay, so, and you know if whether or not local, state, Secret Service enforcement was aware of any drone use?
I've heard the news reports, but I have no direct knowledge.
Would you consider this a major security breach?
Absolutely.
Now, it's also been reported, Colonel Paris, that the local law enforcement spotted the shooter outside the AGR building and on its roof minutes prior to the shooting. Did local police alert the Secret Service that the gunman was on or around the AGR building roof? Do you know?
So this goes to my earlier qualifier about the timeline, but my understanding of the sequence of events is that he was determined to be suspicious as a result of behavior that he was exhibiting, milling around that area in front of the AGR building. There was a text thread that was going, I've been briefed, between the ESU members. They identified, they took a photo of him. At some point when he utilized the rangefinder, the suspicion was heightened. So I know at a certain point in the command post, a member of PSP received a phone call and a text message from members of ESU, and I know from an interview that that was immediately relayed in the command post to the Secret Service.
And what happened? Yeah. So that was my next question. So what happened? What actions were taken after it was relayed to Secret Service?
So when the PSP member received that information and verbally turned right around, gave it to the Secret Service, our member was provided with a number to which the picture that had been taken by the Butler ESU members, or that was on that group thread, to which that should be sent. Our member did that, and our understanding was that was some element of the Secret Service.
So this was all reported, this was all reported to Secret Service, and they gave him, Secret Service then sent him back, one of your officers, a number back to send the information back to? Is that what you just said?
That's my understanding.
When did that happen?
Again, the actual timeline, I'm very remiss because I know these timelines need to be hammered out exactly to the minute, but I would say, that the overall timeline is about an hour before is when he became suspicious to ESU. What I want to say is, if we know that former President Trump was shot at 11 hours, it was probably in the vicinity of 25 to 30 minutes, but I want to make sure that's a very...
So it was before he went on to speak?
But at that point, just to be clear, he was determined to be suspicious. There was no information that he possessed a weapon. He was outside of that building where the ESU was posted. They were being vigilant. It's, I think, relevant that there were other people at the venue who were suspicious and reported likewise in a close temporal nexus to that as well.
But just to confirm, the Secret Service had this information that there was a suspicious individual. He had used a rangefinder, which made him even more suspicious. And this was all reported to them prior to the President Trump being allowed on the stage to speak?
I believe, again, I'll defer to when the president came out. I know that that was probably 20 to 25 minutes before 11 hours. And steps were taken by the municipal officers over in that area to they were actively looking for crooks. You saw the building yesterday. That's a pretty wide footprint. They began looking for him. There were scores of people making their way across that facility. Again, just for some context, there were over 100 people that day that necessitated or requiring medical attention due to the heat. There was a missing 6-year-old. this individual was deemed to be suspicious because he was walking around and not moving into the venue. The rangefinder obviously heightened that, and they were attempting to locate him as people were moving across that space who were attending the event to the secure perimeter.
Was he the only one determined to be suspicious that day?
The gentleman needs to wrap it up,
Oh, he
and
was
perhaps
not.
somebody else will yield to you or me
I yield back.
on this topic. I recognize Mr. Goldman now for 5 minutes.
Or we'll just pick up the questioning here.
That sounds great, prosecutor.
First, I do want to mention how sad it is to see Sheila Jackson Lee's empty seat there. What an incredible inspiration to so many of us, and a member and advocate, community presence, and we really are sorry to miss her. She would be very eager to be asking questions here today, because there are a lot of unanswered questions, and I sat through a 4.5-hour hearing yesterday with the director of the Secret Service, and we got no information. So I'm going to jump on, piggyback off of Mr. Garbarino. Where you left off is that you relayed, or PSP relayed, the photograph to the number that the Secret Service directed your officer to. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, did anything come back? Any instructions, directions come back from the Secret Service?
So again, that is left to the after action. We're trying to come up with a sequence of events that led to Crooks on top of the building where he ultimately took the shots. So
right, but you said, I'm trying to find, I don't need the specific timeline. I'm trying to just figure out the sequence, because you said that many of your officers, or Butler ESU officers, were looking for Crooks. That was after that photograph was relayed to the Secret Service?
My understanding was after the photo was relayed to our trooper in the command post, and yes, Crooks was in that area around the building. My understanding is 2 additional municipal officers who were on a different post responded to that area, and they began actively looking for Crooks. They circumscribed the building to try and locate him. It became apparent at some point that he was up on the roof. Those 2 municipal officers who responded then, to their credit, actively, once they realized that he was on the roof, one boosted the other one up, hanging from the ledge of the roof. By the time that officer was boosted up on top of the roof, Crooks was on it, almost in that final position that you saw. He had the AR out, and he pointed it at the municipal officer who, suspended from the roof, was not in a position, feet dangling at that point, to draw a weapon or continue hoisting himself back up on the roof. He drops back down from the roof, and at this point, I believe that's when the video that's been widely circulated with people filming Crooks up on the roof, saying there's somebody up on the roof. There were other law enforcement around the building running, but their vantage point on the ground did not lend a clear line of sight to where Crooks was at the top of that building. One of our troopers on roving patrol also was notified. That word went out, and he responded about the time that the municipal officer was boosting the other officer up onto the roof.
What was he notified of?
I don't know specifically. That's going to be part of the after action. But we obviously knew that he was, Crooks was suspicious. He had not gone into the venue, and they were actively doing everything they could to try and locate him.
So the local officers who were outside of the perimeter in charge of securing the outside perimeter area, one way or another, understood or got direction that they needed to try to find Crooks, presumably to ask him questions, interview him. Is that what the protocol is?
Clear about, I don't want to speak for I haven't seen the Secret Service operations plan, what their responsibilities were and what their understanding of those were from the Secret Service. I don't want to comment on.
But somehow they got the message.
Somehow there was
knew.
Information that he was suspicious. By the time that municipal officer was hoisted up onto the roof and saw him, he had the weapon out.
Do you know how long it was between the time that the photograph was relayed to the Secret Service and the time when the officer was trying to hoist himself onto the roof?
So that's a critical,
yes,
detailed, salient question. I would answer it from the reverse time period, from if the first shots rang out at 18:11 hours. The hoisting up of the officer occurred probably no more. Again, I'm going to give you a time, but I want to just put it in
We
the
understand
context
it's not specific.
of a sequence of events. I would say at most 2.5 to 3 minutes before that first shot rang out.
And when
what they were notified in the interim still remains under investigation.
Right. And when he fell off of he let go?
The municipal officer, when the briefing that I had was the municipal officer saw Crooks saw him, and Crooks turned and leveled the gun at him in a position tactically of extreme disadvantage, suspended, in the air with your legs dangling after somebody had boosted you up.
And he let go, right?
He let go and he fell back down.
And was there at that point any communications that there's a shooter on the roof from the municipal officers who were there?
That's all part of the after action. We're just trying to get a sequence of events up to the point when Crooks then fired the weapon. So that's been the focus of our investigation thus far.
But there was at least, you said you thought 2.5 to 3 minutes between the time when the municipal officers tried to hoist on top of the roof, Crooks pointed the gun at them, they dropped, and then between that time and when he fired the shots.
I don't want to give you an exact period of time, but it was minutes. It was a very short period of time, even for his ability.
But not seconds.
I would say minutes, but I would be remiss if I gave you, and I want to be very clear on the record. When you do an investigation like this, the timeline is critical. You're asking me, I was briefed, I'm answering to the best of my ability right now.
And I know my time is up. Colonel Paris, I want to thank you for, providing us with this information. It was incredibly disappointing that the director of the Secret Service did not provide any of this information yesterday. I think it is good that we're going to have somebody new at the top, but just having somebody new does not answer the questions. And
Couldn't agree more.
Mr. Chairman, I know you are working diligently to try to get witnesses here. This is not an academic exercise. This is not something that the American people can wait 60 days for. With these gaps in information, there are conspiracy theories, there is disinformation,
100%.
And all of our safety is at risk. Political violence is escalated, and we need to know these answers. I thank you for bringing these witnesses here, and I yield.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. So that was, I'd say that's one of the main exchanges from today. Lots to take away from that. And I also, just as a journalist sitting here, I agree. It was very disappointing that Cheadle didn't provide that kind of information yesterday. I don't know why she wouldn't do it, but she didn't. And we got that from, somebody at more of a local level today. Now, all of that information subject to some adjustment because the evidence is still being collected. The investigation is still ongoing, but that was very helpful. And it gives us all a better picture of what is going on. He's also quite right. The American people, even here in Canada, we can't wait for action to be taken on this because on the U.S. side, they're into the middle of a presidential election campaign. Emotions are running high. People are divided. You've seen the result of that in what happened with the Trump rally and the shooting. And they need to keep people safe. And here in Canada, politicians, you can laugh at them if you want, but you're seeing the Liberals calling for action to be taken to create secure zones or secure areas around Parliament and around their offices, and that's because even they are feeling very threatened. And, they're not very popular these days, so you can certainly understand why they might be feeling that way, especially with the rhetoric that is out there, and a lot of people saying things that they maybe ought not be saying, and there were some charges laid, I believe, just yesterday against a couple of people for uttering threats, leveling threats against politicians online. I've been telling everybody, be careful what you say, be careful what you post. It can and will be held against you even before you get into a court of law.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right. This is far from over, all of this stuff coming out of the failed assassination attempt. But just to add to what I said about being careful what you post online and my comment about the two guys being charged, just to clarify, two Alberta men have been charged in separate investigations. They were accused of threatening to kill federal politicians. The RCMP, Federal Policing Integrated National Security Enforcement Team, INSET, issued a release yesterday, which we didn't get to because we were so wrapped up in our other information. There's only so much time. And anyway, we didn't get to this yesterday. But on May 10th, it received information that a user on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, had posted threats to kill Justin Trudeau. So, according to RCMP, they charged Mason John Baker, 23 years old, of Calgary, with uttering threats. The charges were laid June 6th. Then, on June 7th, in a separate investigation, apparently police received information about a YouTube influencer, poster, whatever, leveling threats to kill Trudeau and Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. So because of that, additional charges laid against 67-year-old Gary Belzovic of Edmonton. Those charges laid on June 13th. So Baker's scheduled to appear in court. He was in court today for arraignment, and then Belzovic will be back in court, I believe, on Thursday. So that will wind its way through the court system. How much attention it gets, I'm not sure. Hasn't been as high profile as some of these other cases. But that's what you get when you don't watch your mouth and don't watch what you type and don't watch what you post if you're not careful. So I'm just telling you, you think they're going to... I don't think that "I was only joking" is a very good defense when they drag you into court. So be careful, folks. When it comes to to cops and lawyers and the government, they don't have much of a sense of humor. So don't even joke about it. Back to what we're talking about here, though, with the Trump attempted assassination and the resignation of the director of the Secret Service. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that there's more to be done. Just the resignation is not going to not going to address the bigger problem.
An investigation into Director Cheadle or former Director Cheadle's role in the attempted assassination of President Trump. There may be criminal charges coming in the future. I think she showed up to the Oversight Committee, refused to answer our questions, did not bring any of the information that we asked her to bring and subpoenaed. She came in yesterday, participated in a full cover-up, and then resigned today. I think that speaks a message loud and clear.
Yeah, and Marjorie Taylor Greene really, pushing hard yesterday against Cheadle too. So it's, like I said, far from over. And you haven't heard the last of Cheadle either. I think they're not done with her, even though she has resigned. Don't kid yourself. It's the United States. They'll be making movies out of this. It'll be part of the social fabric and the conspiracy theory world in the U.S. for decades to come. They'll be talking about this. It's going to be woven right into the fabric of the whole JFK, RFK Jr., Martin Luther King, assassinations, the attempted assassinations on politicians like Ronald Reagan, all of those things. Kamala Harris wasting no time today out on the campaign trail. We'll show you Biden in a minute, but here's Kamala Harris giving us a taste of things to come on the campaign front. And I'm already seeing that this is going to be political correctness versus political incorrectness. It will be Kamala Harris and feminism, wokeism, progressivism versus Donald Trump and conservatism, other isms, populism, and I don't know how else you even describe MAGAism. There it is. There's a good one, MAGAism. But just listen to what she has to say. This proves my point.
So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And in this campaign, I will proudly put my record against his. As a young prosecutor, when I was in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office in California, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Donald Trump was found liable by a jury for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges and put it out of business. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college, Trump University, that was forced to pay $25 million to the students it scammed. As district attorney, to go after polluters, I created one of the first environmental justice units in our nation. Donald Trump stood in Mar-a-Lago and told big oil lobbyists he would do their bidding for a $1 billion campaign contribution. During the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big Wall Street banks and won $20 billion for California families, holding those banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump was just found guilty of 34 counts of fraud.
Oh. You can see he's a sexist, he's a rapist, he's a misogynist, he's a blah, blah, blah. It's all the isms and ists, and that's what's going to go on. You're starting to see the beginning of that, assuming she actually does secure the nomination. It ain't over yet, folks, and other challengers appear to potentially be emerging. So we'll see who else might come out of the woodwork. Politicians that they are. Yep. So I don't know. She she has the inside track on this one though, and the advantage because of the money. If she is allowed to be the candidate, they get to keep the money. So I think it will be her, but it could be somebody else. You never know. You never know. Alex Jones predicts that it will be, or at least he did. Whether he's still predicting it or not, I don't know. He says Hillary Clinton, but I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. So it'll be my prediction of no, I don't think so against his, and we'll see who prevails in the prediction department. Back to Canada for a moment. John Scotty Rimby and a couple of other people making reference to these wildfires out in Western Canada. Jasper evacuated. Towns around Jasper have been, out in British Columbia, have been they're filling up with people who are fleeing the wildfires. Buses have been dispatched to BC to pick up evacuees, to transport them from Jasper back to Alberta. British Columbians in many communities around the area have opened the doors of their homes to bring people in after, being forced away from the flames. About 4,700 residents of Jasper and hundreds of tourists from the surrounding national park were told to leave last night as the wildfire advanced toward the community. Another 17,000 people, I believe, have been evacuated by emergency service personnel. In some cases, even trailer parks, RV parks, have been just opening their facilities at no charge to people who are in a desperate situation and need a place to stay. So people are doing what they can to support each other out there, and it just shows the strength of the community and the strength and resilience of people in the face of adversity. I have a video of what the wildfire out there looks like tonight. Let me just bring this up for you. Here we go. Spreading quickly. A lot of smoke. Again, this summer not nearly as bad as last summer though for these wildfires. It's not yet. And I think I have a little bit more. Here we go. Helicopter. QE. Water. Fight the blaze. Better shot of smoke. That's a little snapshot of what's going on, but it certainly does not give you the full scope, full scale of what they're dealing with out there. This is shot from a broader perspective, from further away, and just look at how much ground this is covering. When you're that far away, again, it doesn't really give you a completely accurate perspective looking at it on video, but you can tell this is major. Look at all the smoke. Look at how this gives you a better idea How big this thing is. And here's a post from BC Emergency Health Services talking about getting people out of the area.
Hi, this is Rochelle with a Be Cool, Be Safe update for July 23rd. BC EHS assisted with the evacuation of over 17,000 people from the Jasper, Alberta area last night. The fire in Jasper blocked all of the roads out of Jasper with the exception of Highway 16 into BC. We continue to work with our partner agencies on this operation. If you receive an evacuation order, here are the top 5 things to remember. Take your grab-and-go bag with important documents and medications. Close your doors and windows and turn on your outside lights. Travel in a vehicle with your entire family, including your pets. Assist your neighbors and help them evacuate if you can safely do so. Follow routes specified by emergency officials to your destination. For more resources, please visit the link below. And remember, be cool, be safe.
Okay, I don't know, that just be cool, be safe thing makes me chuckle. Makes me laugh. Here's some night footage, also from Jasper. Close up.
Why are we driving here? Oh, that's a big flame.
Are we allowed to be here?
I don't know, but if I were you, I probably wouldn't be hanging around.
Oh, look at back there.
Oh. Whoa. Guys, I think we need some water back there. Where the hell?
I was like.
Taking it maybe a little too lightly, I would say. Okay, enough of the wildfire stuff. We'll probably have more on that tomorrow. Also, you know, did you guys like the Maverick Midnight Matinee that we did? Was that something that you want to do again? Couple of questions. Did you like it? Do you want to do it again? And do you want to keep the time? Midnight. It was a Friday night when we did it. I have something in mind for the next one, if there is going to be a next one, but I would like your feedback here tonight. Did you like it? Because we can do more of them. I had fun with it. It was, you know, the Fleischer's Superman cartoons, and then we talked about it. Dragon was on. He did a great job, and it was fun to do it with him. And we had a discussion about the social aspects of it, the political, the artistic. Yeah, Isabel says it was great, but maybe earlier I fell asleep. Yeah, I got pretty tired too, because it went to what was almost 3 o'clock in the morning by the time we were done, wasn't it? Or 2:30. Sandy says she liked it. And Magic Moon says start an hour earlier, maybe, or maybe at 10. Yeah, maybe. Choosy, yeah. Because it could still be Maverick Midnight Matinee, but wrap it up at midnight. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe 10 or 11 o'clock and go. But man, it got pretty late, didn't it? Especially out here in Ontario. If you're out west, of course, it's not as much of an issue because it's earlier out there for you guys. Fun matinee madness, she says. Sandy, yeah. Dragon says 10, yeah. You guys liked it. I enjoyed it too, you know, and I think it opens up the program, the channel to bringing more people in. Yeah, maybe we'll go a little earlier. Maybe we'll do it earlier on Friday nights or Saturdays. Fridays or Saturdays. What do you guys think? Friday nights? Friday's probably a good night, eh? Friday seems like a more evil, more sinister night. Fridays are darker and scarier, like Friday the 13th. Love, Hope, and Faith says it didn't bother. It wasn't a bother because of the coffee. Fridays, Alicia says Saturday. Rising Dragon says Friday. Well, we're open to adjustment here. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that I have a movie in mind for the next one, this coming week. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you guys to guess. Okay? And so the first clue is that it's a movie that focuses on conspiracy theories. Okay? So that's your first clue. And I'll give you a series of clues over the next couple of days. You guys can guess what the movie is going to be. So it's a conspiracy theory movie. All right, so that's clue number 1. And you guys can start to guess. And if somebody gets it right, we can maybe give away a prize. What about that? How about if we give away, a conspiracy? No. How about this? How about we give away a Exile the Knights of Malta t-shirt to whoever guesses the movie that we're going to run this weekend. No, it's not 1984, although that would be a good choice. Not JFK, nope. Jesse says a Rothschild movie, nope. Watch somebody's going to nail this and get it correct right off the bat. And I'll have to monitor the chat or whatever when I ask this question. Johnny says, you like superhero big blockbusters start in theater this weekend, Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I saw the trailer for that one, Johnny. I don't know if I don't know, Deadpool, so much sarcasm there in the character. I find it, I don't like watching Deadpool stuff. He's just too, No, not Night of the Living Dead, Lindy. I had mentioned that before, but no, that's not conspiracy theory. That's just a documentary. Twilight Zone, nope. Nope. I don't think you guys are going to get it tonight. I'll provide other clues. Okay, so I guess we can stop guessing for the moment just because I can't continue to monitor the chat. I'll just go back here and just looking just to make sure that nobody else got it. The Matrix, nope. The Shining, nope. No, not Fly Me to the Moon, nope. No, not Stephen King stuff, nope. No, not Silent Green, but that is one of my favorite movies of all time. Not my favorite movie of all time, but one of my favorites. Bonnie and Clyde, nope. No, not V for Vendetta, nope. Good guesses, but no. Nope. Godfather, no. No, not The Godfather. This is a conspiracy theory film, sort of. Although some would say that some would call it a documentary, others would call it science fiction. There are a couple of other clues for you. Okay, enough of that. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Our coverage of today's top news stories will continue on the other side of this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Exile. The Knights of Malta. Maverick News. Join us. The world is watching.
I'm back. There we go. We were not there for a moment, but we're back now. So I know that a lot of people are focused on the visit to America by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's set to visit Washington this week. A visit that's fraught with tension amidst a politically volatile period, of course, in the United States, and concerns among American leaders about Netanyahu's history of involving himself in U.S. domestic politics and policies. The primary purpose of the visit is to address a joint session of Congress. However, significant discussions with administration officials will also focus on U.S.-led efforts to mediate an end to the 9-month Israel-Hamas conflict. This all coincides with the Palestinian death toll from Israeli strikes in Gaza approaching a reported 40,000. All those numbers, in my view, still to be verified over time, and we've seen from previous wars that sometimes coming up with truly accurate numbers can take many years. But in any case, additionally, new deaths among the hostages, which is made up of Israelis, Americans, and others held by Hamas and other militant groups since the war's onset, have been reported. And we shouldn't forget about those hostages either. Netanyahu has scheduled his trip before the recent seismic shifts in U.S. politics, including the attempted assassination on Trump on July 13th. And now we see, President Joe Biden's announcement to withdraw from the presidential race, going on to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris instead. Protests are already planned for Netanyahu's speech to both houses of Congress, which are set to take place tomorrow. The visit is Netanyahu's first international trip since the war began on October 7th and follows the International Criminal Court's announcement of seeking his arrest for alleged war crimes in Gaza. These are allegations that Israel denies. Netanyahu's visit is controversial, especially given the deeply divisive nature of Israel's war and the United States spurring protests and arrests on college campuses, and the same can be said of the situation here in Canada and all of that alienating voters, dividing people. Biden and Netanyahu are expected to meet Thursday with discussions focusing on ending the conflict and securing a hostage release deal. Vice President Harris will also apparently meet with Netanyahu separately. As far as I know, that has not happened yet. The visit is marked by heightened security, of course, with fencing surrounding key locations and an increased presence of Capitol Police and Secret Service. Protests, including one demanding Netanyahu's arrest on war crimes charges, are planned throughout the week. So we'll continue to monitor the situation, give you updates. Trump also, at one point, it looked like he was going to meet with Netanyahu, but apparently that is not going to happen now. There will, however, I think there will be a phone call that will take place between Netanyahu and Trump during Netanyahu's visit to the U.S. Okay. So any other guesses? I'm going to check the chat again. All the President's Men? No, won't be that movie. JFK? No. Arlington Road? No. Manchurian Candidate? Good guess. Nope. Cannibal? Nope. Cannibal? Planet of the Apes? Nope. Doctor Who? Nope. Twilight Zone? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. No, I don't think you guys are going to get it. You have to be really old like me. Oh, there's another clue. Although a lot of those movies are pretty old too. It's amazing how fast time flies. I look at some of these movie titles that are out today, and it's like Twisters, right? So I went to see Twisters. We sort of semi-reviewed that the other night, and hard to believe it's enough time has gone by that they've actually made like a modern remake of Twister and turned it into Twisters. How many years ago was that? Too many for me to count. Conservative Party MP Michael Barrett, Canadian, of course, engaged in a 40-minute long rant. This was a response to Liberal Party members shutting down a committee hearing into corruption and illegal practices within the Liberal government. Why? Well, you know, they're on summer vacay. So here's Barrett spouting off about it. Understandably so, I would say. I won't play the whole 40-minute rant, but here's a little taste of it.
Right, sir.
I'm not surprised, of course, Chair, that Liberal members of the committee want to try to cover up the corruption and failures and fraud that has run rampant after 9 years of their government. Here we have departmental officials in front of us. We have matters that have been referred to the RCMP, but like so many cases when we, or so many examples that we have with respect to procurement, what Liberal members want is commercials about how well everything is going, and they don't want any accountability. We heard that about the Arrive scam app. It was supposed to cost $80,000. It cost many orders of magnitude more than that, and they tried to shut down investigations at absolutely every single turn. We found out, of course, that it cost $54 million, and that the contractors who worked on it, of course, have had their front doors kicked in by the RCMP, and we know now that it has been just the very top layer of the onion that is this Liberal government. After 9 years of Justin Trudeau, all that they can do is try and shut down these basic tools for accountability that we have. And, well, I know it brings them great pain to step away from their back deck and their swimming pool. We have important work to do on behalf of Canadians. I know for a certainty that folks in my community, I know for a certainty that folks in ridings across this country, 338 ridings, they want accountability for this corrupt Liberal government. That's what they want, and they want it in the summer, not just when Liberal MPs have feel like they'll tolerate questions from the public. So we have these officials here today, and I have questions prepared for the officials, and they're not allowed to answer our questions during this motion that's been put forward. That's a tactic to shut down accountability. We've seen it it's increased. It's increased as we've uncovered more corruption and more examples of the cover-ups that the Liberals have tried to perpetrate. But my questions, it's so interesting that they find them political. How many cases of fraud have been referred to the RCMP? There's nothing political about that. That question is Canadians have a right to know, and they have an interest in knowing the volume of fraud that is being perpetrated on the government. Canadians are lined up at food banks in record numbers. They're struggling to get by, teetering on the brink of insolvency in record numbers. And what they see is contractors like the grifters at GC Strategies, who were banking tens of millions of dollars and doing no IT work on IT contracts. And we've learned that it's just the tip of the iceberg. Ghost contracting, double billing, but these guys were adding no value. We know now that there are contractors who were employees of the federal government, who were being, this liberal federal government, who were being used as subcontractors because we were told the government didn't have the capability in-house to do it. Well, by virtue of the person working at the government, we know that they have the capability in-house to do it. Have the RCMP contacted the Trudeau Liberal government regarding criminal investigations into consultants that were not referred by the government to the RCMP? I fail to see how that's a political question. But they don't, the Liberals don't want that accountability. They don't want that spotlight on the corruption that they're presiding over, on insiders lining their pockets while Canadians struggle. How many billions of taxpayer dollars does the Liberal government spend on high-priced consultants every year? That would be the question that I addressed to Mr. Mills, who's in front of the committee today. He's not allowed to answer because the Liberals are shutting down the questioning of these witnesses. It's more than $20 billion. $20 billion. And I could ask for a precision from Ms. Poulin, who talked about the percentage of.
Okay, so he goes on and on and on for like 40 minutes, and just on and 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 on. And really, what it comes down to, I think, for a lot of people, is name the names. People want accountability. They want to know who these politicians are that have been identified by investigators, by CSIS, by the RCMP, as being either witting or unwitting participants in foreign influence in our political process. It's the ones who are wittingly participating, I think, that people really want the names of. But so far, nobody's done that. And there is parliamentary privilege that comes into play here. That means that any member of parliament could name the names with immunity from any kind of prosecution if they do it inside the House of Commons, on the floor of the House. That is the way the law is written. So you can say things like that using parliamentary privilege in order to do that. But not very many people talking about that. Well, we're mentioning it here on this program. It could happen. I think I know why, but I think that what Canadians want and what they really deserve is either they either need the names named, or they need an explanation, a better explanation, a thorough explanation as to why some of those names, or the names, are not being named. I think I know why. And I also, in a roundabout way, I think I know why they aren't telling people exactly why they aren't telling people why. And that's because if they told people why, they might reveal sources and methods, even by mentioning it. And I'm reluctant to even tell you why I think that they're not telling you why. But that's how complex this thing gets. Nevertheless, Canadians do deserve something more than they have been provided at this point. And at least on the American side, well, here, before we get back into this Trump assassination stuff, or attempted assassination stuff, I want to run this, still on the Canadian side of things. This is from Maxime Bernier, a clip that he's released of conservative leader Pierre Poilievre at a political rally. The issue here, of course, immigration. Bernier calling for deportations and an end to mass immigration. And he's suggesting here that Pierre Poilievre, that this is proof that Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives are all in on mass immigration. Look at what he posted. I will read what is being said in the subtitles here, especially for our listeners who are tuning in online just through the podcast. It says, after 2 to 3 years, this is a speech being given by Tim Uppel, I believe. I don't know if that's the guy's name. Anyway, this appears, I don't know who these guys are, but maybe from one of the Indian communities, 6 maybe. Is that after 2 to 3 years now, the same government is saying the deportation should be done here. That is wrong. After 5 years and 50 years, how many of our roots are here, he says. You work here, you start paying taxes here. You live here according to the rules. You become the future of this country. And now just to do, they are saying that we are deporting. This is wrong. You are victims. We are standing with you. Of course, he's talking about newcomers to Canada. And I don't have all the details on exactly what this rally was about. Wherever we are standing with you, we are facing you. So these are obviously people who are worried about being deported, be it what you have. In the House of Commons, as an official opposition leader, they especially asked Justin Trudeau a question. How are you going to stop deportation? So we will keep this pressure on. Our offices have our files. Jazz Raj's office has something. I have something too. Our conservative members have files in their offices. We will work on this. We will keep pressure on Justin Trudeau until all the deportations are over. And then I don't, honestly, that clip is not completely explanatory. You can interpret that in a couple of different ways, so I caution you with that. This is just what Maxime Bernier posted, and then he puts up this graphic on it that says CPC is pro-mass immigration. Let me just scroll down. We must deport illegal immigrants, says Maxime Bernier. That on his Twitter account, formerly known or currently known as X. This is new body cam footage just released by Senator Chuck Grassley. This coming from the July 13th Trump, Pennsylvania rally. This body cam footage obtained from the Beaver County Emergency Services Unit. And in this footage, we see them discussing how they had noticed Thomas Crooks earlier before the incident unfolded. Let's just tune into that, shall we? That's interesting stuff. Shared with you here. And let's let it roll.
So this is the guy that
very low audio.
So this is the guy that
yes, that they sent yes, Beaver County sniper seen and sent the pictures out. This is him.
Okay, all right.
Rifle's right there, obviously.
Got it. So the bike in the back. Is he on that bike?
We don't know.
We don't know. So
I
we're
don't
just
know.
treating that as suspicious device.
Oh, 1 second. I believe the sniper that seen these and sent the pictures is right inside this building. Michelle, is Greg in there? All right, so if you go to that window that's open and yell for Greg, that's the sniper that sent the original pictures and seen him come from the bike and set the book back down and then lost sight of him.
Okay.
He's the one that sent the pictures out. I don't know if you got the same ones I did.
I think I did, yeah. He's like got his glasses on and he's
So we had the picture of that.
I got that.
Okay, and then this is his bike with the stuff. And our sniper seen him walking away from that, I believe.
Okay.
But he would be right inside that window. He's the one that physically seen this, sent the pictures, and called it out.
Okay, so, and we have somebody detained, correct?
That I don't know.
People detained on this side. Our guy that was just up here told me that there's a guy detained. He's the owner of the bike, and I said, no, that's the owner of the bike.
Yeah, basically when I got
We've been up here, so we wouldn't know that information.
We just hauled ass. We got over
Right,
it.
got it.
We hopped up.
Yeah, that's no problem. If that all your stuff?
That was one of our
Yeah.
Yeah,
So someone came up looking to treat him, and that was missing.
Yes.
This is all fresh.
Gas is off to the building, just so you know.
Thank you.
Well, fresh in that it's just been released.
Yeah, they do. I talked to the guy. They were those people detained were filming. Maybe they were involved. Maybe they weren't.
Other than that, I haven't heard anybody.
So they don't know. Like they know they're looking for somebody, but they're not sure where this person is. They're trying to figure out what he looks like.
Us, and then filming the guy up on the roof, and then filming us, and then when the shots started firing, they tried to run away. It was like, isn't that what everybody would do that has a phone? You know, I'm not saying they weren't involved, but you know what I mean? Like that.
It's still in the air right now, right?
Right. So I got no problem detaining them. But again, I'm just trying to detain those guys, find out what they know, who they are, whatever. I'm trying to get clear information to relay back to DC.
Control to the water tower.
We have one shooter deceased. I think we have 3 victims in the crowd. Is that, did you guys hear that too?
So this is all after the fact, and they're trying to figure out what the heck happened.
I know 2 helicopters are taking off.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how many
Hello?
victims.
Where you're deceased.
We have access to a drone. Where this water tower.
Any LE?
I will try to.
In the van. Did he survive? Copy.
All right, so that's what we've got. That tonight. All right. So as dark as politics can be, sometimes even the dark stuff has a humorous side. I'm going to share this with you tonight in closing. This, I watched it. I have to admit, it made me laugh, even though the subject matter is very dark indeed. Talking about taking people out. I've said many times, rich people, politicians, presidents, they live in a different world. A president wakes up in the morning. Sometimes they have to decide who it is they're going to bomb or who it is they're going to have assassinated. And this just contrasts the styles of 2 presidents, Obama and Trump. Check it out.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead.
The United States launched a targeted operation against that compound.
Actually, you know what? I can't run this because I'm going to get hit with a copyright strike. So I do apologize, but that was on the Kimmel show. It was funny. It is actually pretty funny because it just contrasts the 2 different styles. I didn't realize it was from the Kimmel show, but it is kind of funny. I have to say though, even though it was intended to make people laugh at Trump, I kind of prefer his style over Obama. It's a little bit more real and honest, I would say. Anyway, well, let's wrap it up there, folks. Enough of that. Any last guesses on what the movie is going to be on Friday night? Let me see. Marathon Man, nope. Mulholland Drive, no. Enemy of the State, no. Conspiracy, no. Manchurian Candidate, we had that. Go back over here, checking the comments. Any last ones? Nosferatu, nope. Metropolis, nope. Good guesses. All those movies we'll probably get to. Jackie Chan, Kung Fu Ninja, nope. That's a good guess, Sandy. Oh, George Orwell, War of the Worlds, nope. All good guesses. And then nope. North by Northwest. Alfred Hitchcock. That's a great flick. Oh yeah. Ghostbusters, nope. No Star Trek, no Kung Fu. No. No lucky guesses, no accurate guesses, but all good guesses. We'll continue the process tomorrow night here on the Maverick News Channel at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys. I will see you all back here at that time. Where's my closer? There it is. See you then on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.